Oi oi everybody, and welcome to Geek Raider, a channel dedicated to the best damn video game of all time. Only joking, babes. It's Tomb Raider, of course. The first game was released in 1996, and since its debut, 11 more games have been released. And with these games have come some sexy levels. So with the 26-year anniversary just around the corner, what better way to celebrate than to take a look at the top 15 classic Tomb Raider levels of all time? To do this, I could go down the route of meticulously ranking each of the levels based on specific attributes like gameplay and size, but that, just like my old man used to say, size doesn't matter, it's what you do with it that counts. So for this list, I'm just going to give you my raw, honest opinion on which levels I've enjoyed playing the most over the past 20 plus years, from one Tomb Raider fan to another. And I'll just throw it out there that I don't necessarily consider any of these levels bad. There's just some that I enjoy playing more than others, so don't bite my Winstons off if you disagree now. This video is aimed at celebrating Tomb Raider, rather than ripping its testicles to shreds. Mind you, my opinion is very different from other videos I've seen out there, so buckle up and enjoy the ride, because it's too late for abortions now! Number 15! Hey-yo! At number 15, we have Furnace of the Gods, Tomb Raider Golden Mask. Now this is by far my favourite level of the Gold expansions, and is quite frankly a level that I would love to see in a remaster if, God willing, we ever get one. Furnace of the Gs is an absolute beast of a level, not only in terms of duration, but also for its traps, traversal and enemy encounters. And even with all of these great things, that's not the best part about it. You see, what really does it for me with Furnace of the Gods is that moment of scaling up that big waterfall of pure molten gold. Not only is the colour contrast of the gold with the bluish cave rocks absolute candy to the eye, navigating the waterfall itself is actually really challenging. In fact, I sometimes feel like this would have been better off as the final level of the game, as it's just an absolute blast to play. And for anyone who hasn't played Golden Mask, Furnace of the Gods alone is enough of a reason to. It really is the real deal. Number 14! At number 14 now, we have Palace Midas, Tomb Raider 1. Palace Midas is the second level of Greece, and oh boy does it put the rest of those levels to shame. In it, you explore the ruins of the palace until you find a room with 5 switches. A bit like Francis Folly, you must pull the switches to make your way into 3 challenge rooms, where you'll obtain the lead bars needed to complete this level. And what could you do with 3 lead bars in a palace that's home to Midas, I wonder? You got it! Turn those bitches into gold, baby! What I love most about this level, aside from its sheer beauty of course, is that one little moment in the game. You know what I'm talking about. That one itty bitty moment. That one moment when you turn into gold. I'll always remember the first time I played Palace Midas and climbed up off the hand of Midas, only to my surprise be witness to his power as I watched Lara turn into a pyramid-boobed BAFTA award. In fact, I think every Tomb Raider player remembers their first time doing this, and quite frankly, this is one of, if not the most iconic moment in Tomb Raider history, and for that reason, Palace Midas ranks at my number 14 spot. Number 13! Taking a trip back now to 1997, we have Tibetan Foothills at lucky number 13. Tibetan Foothills, quite frankly, is fan-dabby-dozy. Essentially, you start off with Lara flying peacefully over Tibet. Sorry, did I say peacefully? I meant she explosively crashes the plane into a big pile of turd rocks and is left to fend for herself in short shorts and a bomber jacket as she continues her quest for the Talion. I mean, it's not surprising she crashed considering Lara's history of planes, but that's a whole other video. Tibetan Foothills is fun from start to finish. From crossing the icy canyon at the start to frantically trying to control the skidoo. Everything about this level is just awesome. It's also possible to complete it without skidoos, but I wouldn't advise that unless you've got hundreds of hours to spare as you get crushed by snowy testicles and fall to your death again and again and again. Tibetan Foothills really is one of the all-time greats, and I'm sure it comes as to no surprise as to why I've ranked it so closely to number 1. Number 12! And at number 12 now, we have a level which, quite frankly, is far too often overlooked in my opinion, and that is Burial Chambers from Last Revelation. Now, Burial Chambers, or BC for short, not to be confused with Big Cock, is the 4th level of the game and arguably the best. In it, you explore the chambers and take the Amulet of Horus, which, as we know, is a very bad idea and causes all sorts of trouble later down the line. The level starts with you sliding down into the chamber's anus, where, from the get-go, you're faced with a timed booby trap and lots of spikes. And as you progress through the level, you find yourself becoming the main attraction, as it seems like everything here just wants to kill you. Whether it be jackals, undead mummies, or even just the environment itself throwing everything it has at you. And I think the game changer for me is that giant rotating room which you explore towards the middle of the level. This is just such a cool moment, and I would love to see something similar in a future game, because it's just so trippy, man. And it really adds to the fun factor of this level. And narrowly missing that number 10 spot, we have another one from Tomb Raider 2 with Temple of XIAN. Just throwing it out there, Temple X is absolutely massive. And again, is another one of those levels that could be an entire video on its own. So to sum it up in 1 minute is going to be quite hard, but here goes nothing. Upon entering the temple, you see the dagger of XIAN sat on its pedestal, looking all harmless and innocent. Logically, you go to grab the dagger, but as you reach it, the final floor tile collapses, causing you to slide down a huge waterfall and into some water. It is then up to you to work your way back up towards the dagger and complete the level. While exploring the level, you will come across many traps, from huge lava bits to big red testicles and, oh, giant fucking spiders. Temple of XIAN is the level that, still to this day, gives me the heebie-jeebies, and I'm totally here for it. Everything from the treacherous environment to the freakish whispering music makes this level so fun and is an excellent build-up to the following level, which might or might not be on this list. You'll have to stay tuned. Number 10. And now for last of the double digits, we have a level that reigns true and dear to my heart. Atlantis from Tomb Raider Uno. Atlantis is like when you finally release that fart that you've been holding in all day at work. It's a blast. Not only is it another absolute mammoth of a level, it's also filled to the brim with over 30 enemies and endless traps and puzzles to complete as you make your way to the top of the pyramid. It's no wonder that so many people talk about this level, because it is a beast and is the perfect way to test the skills you've developed throughout the rest of the game, as in order to make it to the top all in one piece, you have to pull out every trick and stunt you have. Otherwise, well... Once reaching the nipple of the pyramid, the player also gets treated to an iconic confrontation with Natla, which results in the latter being chucked off a 10,000-foot ledge into the big pot of boiling soup. It's a sweet ending to an even sweeter level. Number 9. Time to go grab yourself a bottle of water, because at number 9, it's London's one and only Thames Wharf. Thames Wharf is the first level of London, and one that I'm sure many of you would probably rank a lot lower. However, call me batshit bonkers, but I can't help but fall in love with the insane difficulty of this level, and actually, I think that's what makes it so great to me. Thames Wharf is not for your casual gamer. Heck, it's not even for your mildly experienced raiders. It requires a lot of charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent. It's crazy difficult, from the enemies to the puzzles to simply just navigating your way around the rooftops. But that's what makes it all the more satisfying when you complete it. This level is filled with awesome moments, from scaling St. Paul's Cathedral to narrowly avoiding Wally's angry cousin. So to me, Thames Wharf really is one of the all-time greats, despite a lot of the negative backlash it gets, which, quite frankly, I think is undeserved. Which leads me on to the next level on this list, because just when you thought I couldn't get crazier, at number 8 we have the oh-so-polarising LUD'S Gate from Tomb Raider 3. Another one where I'm sure many of you may be sat there thinking, what the fuck? But hey, LUD'S Gate to me is one of the best levels of the classic series. For me, it has the perfect combination of combat, puzzle solving, and exploration. Heck, one moment you're breaking into the Natural History Museum, and the next you're swimming into the crocodile-infested sewers of London. Maybe it's because I've been to London heaps of times, so that's why I get so excited, but I don't know, I just really enjoy this level. Granted, it's definitely not for those casual gamers out there, so I can appreciate a lot of the backlash it might get from some people. I mean, that underwater puzzle, and you know exactly what puzzle I'm on about, I'll agree, is an absolute bitch of a challenge. But that's what makes it so fun. At least that's the case for me. Maybe I'm weird. Heck, definitely I'm weird, but LUD'S Gate for me is always a level that I look forward to when playing Tomb Raider 3, and one that I always enjoy watching other people play too, so that I can see them suffer in all its painful brilliance. Number 7. Putting Tomb Raider 3 to the side for now, the next level on this list and ranking at number 7 is Bio Research Facility from the Angel of Darkness. It's also the last level where we get to play as Lara before we take over as Curtis Trent, and boy is this level an absolute banger. After learning about Lara's hypothetical collection of coconuts and getting absorbed into a fart cloud, we are free to explore the many surreal experiments of Dr. Grant Muller, a member of the Cabal who's in charge of the botanical research at the Strahov. Throughout the level you encounter human-eating plants, evil mutant hybrids and other various baddies along the way, all the while trying to figure out how to make your way through the madhouse. And what I particularly like about this level is how unexpected it is. I mean, the previous level is spent exploring gloomy hallways and storage containers, so imagine my surprise when I walk in through an unsuspecting green door to be introduced to this absolute beauty. 6. And at number 6, we have Lost Valley from Tomb Raider 1. Now, this is a level that needs no introduction. It's pretty much unanimously agreed amongst the fanbase that Lost Valley is the level which put Tomb Raider on the map. It has great level design, beautiful rock formations, and well... yeah! I can remember the first time I experienced that T-Rex turning around that corner, and I literally had to pause the game to clean the skids from my underwear. It is a moment that I will always remember, but what stops me from putting Lost Valley at number 1 is... yes, it's home to the most iconic moment in gaming history, but I do genuinely think that there are some levels out there that are still that little tinsy-wincy bit better. I mean, dinosaurs and nostalgia aside, all you're really doing is finding some mossy old cogs to stop a waterfall, and that's not to say I don't think Lost Valley is great, because it is, but I think there are 5 more that do it slightly better. Number 5. And now, at number 5, we have Home Sweet Home. Or should I say, Home Sweet... oh shit! Because that was my first reaction when playing this absolute masterpiece of a level. Home Sweet Home is the final stage in Tomb Raider 2 and is by far one of my favourites, not just in this game, not just in this classic series, but in the whole damn franchise. It is fun, spelt with a capital PH. It is the sponge to my cake, the fish to my chips, the hair on my... never mind. Home Sweet Home is just one of those levels that I could literally play on loop again and again. And in fact, I have. Just when you thought you'd seen the last of Bartoli's henchmen, the remaining members of the cult rock up to attack you, only this time you don't have your trusty pea shooters. Instead, you have a badass shotgun with a lifetime supply of ammunition. And unlike most levels on this list, Home Sweet Home has one objective and one objective only. Destroy everyone! The entirety of this mission is spent exploring Croft Manor, killing all of the mercenaries and dogs until eventually you confront an evil Harry Hill on steroids and blast him to smithereens. After all the difficult levels in Tomb Raider 2, Home Sweet Home is such a breath of fresh air and the perfect conclusion to an all-round fantastic game. Numero 4. Another one from 1997 now is at number 4 we have Floating Islands from Tomb Raider 2. Floating Islands is quite possibly the weirdest, creepiest and freakiest level of the whole classic series. It's a bit like that one crazy aunt you have who's just a little bit too weird, but for some reason you can't help but like her. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Floating Islands is filled with crazy baddies and even crazier moments from start to finish. It's essentially some otherworldly dimension which is home to the Dragon's Lair, which is pretty fitting when you come to think about it. I mean, where else would a mystical dragon reside? After exploring the first area and obtaining 2 plaques, you eventually open a large gate leading to the next section of the level. Only this time there's far more traps and enemies to come up against, and don't be fooled by its beauty because Floating Islands is no walk in the park either. The combat is hard, navigation is challenging, but that's what makes it great. Floating Islands for me is one of those levels that has me intrigued from start to finish. It is totally unexpected and wacky, and I like that. In fact, I love it. Speaking of love, this next level is probably going to break a few hearts out there because at number 3, we have one of the most, if not the most polarizing levels of all time, and that is ALDWYCH. I know, what an absolute shocker of a level placement. But honestly, ALDWYCH for me is an absolute blast and the level that I was actually very close to placing at number 1 on this list. For those that don't know, ALDWYCH is the second level of the London section for Tomb Raider 3, where Lara continues her search for clues on the whereabouts of the Eye of Isis. The reason I say, for those who don't know, is because I'm sure that many people probably just skip this entire section. But don't! You're missing out. Not only do you get to explore a creepy abandoned station, you also explore a Freemasonry lodge and eventually end up at the entrance to a secret hideout habitated by a group of people known as the Damned. It's bloody awesome if you ask me. Oh, and by the way, these are the people that you've been constantly shooting throughout the levels, so awkward! ALDWYCH is filled with challenges, from timed doors, fire traps, escaping giant drills, and getting completely annihilated by oncoming trains. Like seriously, the first time this happened, I literally skid my pants. What also adds to the fun factor for me is that ALDWYCH Station is a real place. Located in Westminster, London, the station was opened in 1907 and closed its doors in 1994. It also featured as an episode on Most Haunted back in 2002, and I'd advise everyone to go and watch it. The place literally looks almost identical to in the game. And I know I might be alone on this one, but ALDWYCH for me is so fun and has so much history that I just can't help but put it at my number 3 spot. Number 2. And at number 2 now, we have Temple Ruins, Tomb Raider 3. Temple Ruins is by far my all-time favourite from Tomb Raider 3. It's just on another level. Get it? Another level, because it's a level? No? Never mind. Temple Ruins has everything you could want from a Tomb Raider level, from slowly navigating dangerous environments to engaging in full-on, fast-paced action. It is truly excellent. It's also the first and only time we're introduced to the Shiva statues, which, honestly, I don't know about you, but creeped me out as a kid. I actually wish they utilised these statues more throughout the other stages in India. The level is also huge, so there is plenty to be getting on with. For instance, first you have to find a way into the ruins, then you have to find and obtain 2 keys to unlock a giant gate, and then, if you manage to have your nipples still attached, find 3 more keys to complete the level. This could have been a nightmare, but fortunately it's far from it. Temple Ruins is a dream to play and is one of the levels that made me truly fall in love with the series. Stick it up your bum, because at number 1 we have BARKHANG Monastery from Tomb Raider 2. BARKHANG Monastery to me is the ultimate representation of classic Tomb Raider. It epitomises perfect level design from aesthetics to combat to its challenges. There literally isn't a single thing that I would change from this level. It's just absolutely top notch. Not only is it undeniably one of the most beautiful levels in the entire series, the objective of locating 5 prayer wheels to gain access to the catacombs is an absolute blast. Obviously, being classic Tomb Raider, it's not quite as simple as picking up 5 wheels. You see, to complete your mission, you must also pick up multiple keys and gemstones to gain access to other areas, all while trying not to get obliterated by rolling blades, trapdoors, and fire. Lots and lots of fire. BARKHANG Monastery just hits the spot for me. It has traversal, swimming, and heaps of combat to keep you on your toes. And what's more is that despite its sheer size, every area connects together so well. And while the other levels in this top 15 could definitely give this level a run for its money, I think ultimately it's the monastery that comes out on top. And just like that, this video comes to an end. A very special thanks to everybody who was able to watch from start to finish. I know it couldn't have been easy, so I applaud you. And if you disagree with my list, or perhaps have a list of your own that you'd like to share, please feel free to do so in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. There'll be plenty more videos coming around soon, so feel free to subscribe, or hey, don't. It's no skin off my testicles. As long as we're celebrating Tomb Raider, that's all that matters. So on that note, stay geeky and peace out.